Good evening, wellness culture. I hope everyone is doing well tonight. I am excited about tonight's topic. We're going to be talking about supporting our bodies with natural energy, and we're also going to be touching on the topic of rest, as those things kind of go hand in hand. This one is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, as I've had a long journey with this in my life, starting with very, very early age for myself, and also a lot of what I'm going to say tonight is also going to be things that I'm continuing to apply to my own life as schedules change, as we're in a busy world. And maybe you saw my post a little bit earlier today just on the busyness and craziness, and some things that you may relate to just in this season of the world is calling global exhaustion. That you have some of those things that you are relating to, and schedules changing, whatever it may be. Life is a busy, busy thing, and there's always something that is seems to leave us exhausted at the end of the day. So we're just going to talk through some things that we have at our disposal, some helpful tools that can help us along our journeys to get good rest and also to support just healthy and natural energy levels in our bodies, and maybe find some areas of our life that we didn't know were actually causing our energy levels to be depleted, and also areas that we're stealing rest from ourselves, and areas where maybe we need to give ourselves more permission to rest than we otherwise do so often in our busy, busy world that we find. So the question is, why are we tired all the time? So many people I ask questions of how they're doing. It's one of the things that seems to come up again and again is I feel exhausted, I feel tired. It's a reoccurring theme. It's kind of like, okay, we can just write that one off the list that you're probably tired. I don't come across too many individuals where they're like, I feel great, I'm super energetic, and I could go run a marathon right now. That's just not a lot of people in a lot of places of the world right now who seem to have high energy levels. And something that I think that we really need to address is the issue of how much permission we give ourselves to rest and to sleep during the day. 100 years ago, normal would have been getting 9 to 10 hours of sleep as an adult. That was normal. People didn't stay up, super late. Work hours were a little bit more well defined. You weren't working, late at night because it was expensive if you're working in hours when you're not relying on natural sunlight. And then we also didn't have things like Netflix that we could go, oh, I'm just going to watch one more episode. Okay, I'm just going to watch one more episode. And we stay up way too late. And then, getting up super early to try and meet all the obligations that we seem to sign ourselves up for and our kids up for and our cats and our dogs up for, whatever. Our lives are just full of so much busyness. So that 9 to 10 that used to be normal then kind of dropped down to 8. And now it's like, it's lucky if you're getting 6 or 7. And there's so many people who are getting, less than 6 hours of sleep and trying to function. And it's just not the way that our bodies are designed. Even in other cultures, things like taking rest during the middle of the day because it's just too hot to work, taking siestas, taking those naps, is something that's just built in, that you have to stop those things. And so when we've created these artificial means of working longer, artificial means of staying up longer, entertaining ourselves, those things have really caused detrimental harm to our natural sleep patterns. I especially feel this for our teens because studies have been showing more and more that teens need more sleep like that of like a newborn. Not just that 9 to 10 or, people say 7 or 8. It's more like 11 or 12 hours of sleep. They need to be having almost as much sleep as a newborn with all the growth changes that they're going through in puberty and beyond. That they need that deep rest. They need much more sleep. But we pile on so much for our teens that they have to be responsible for, that they have to be doing, that they have to be involved in, that they're burning the candle at both ends. And they're just ending up so depleted before they're even really getting started with their lives. And it's just so sad to see. Going back to things of staying up late, even if you're good and you can tell yourself, no, I'm only going to watch one episode of the show and I'm going to try and go to bed on time. The blue light exposure that we have in our homes with all of our electronic devices, whether you are looking at your phone before bed, if you're reading a ebook on your tablet before bed, you watch a movie just before bed, whatever it is, that blue light exposure late at night, it tells your brain that you need to stay up. It's saying, oh, it's still daylight out and I still need to be ready and functioning and working throughout the day. So it actually delays the natural excretion of melatonin, which is one of the hormones that's necessary for our sleep cycles, and one that helps us kind of get into that sleepy state and be able to fall asleep. So if you're being exposed to too much blue light, that's going to keep you from being able to rest and being able to fall asleep. So if you find that when you look at screens that you find that you're just feeling awake afterwards, it's because your brain is being told that you need to stay awake. So looking into things like getting blue light filter apps for your phone, blue block glasses or whatever, the yellow lens filter glasses, so those things can be really, really super effective in helping you, especially at the end of the day with those things. Stress. Am I right? This is like a huge one for us. The continual traumas that we're in, and stress, it even doesn't have to just be a bad thing. Stress can be a good thing. That you could be preparing to go on a family vacation and there's a lot of stuff that you need to get ready for, and it's a level of stress to prepare for those types of things. We're getting ready for having another baby later this year, and that's a good stress, but it's still stress to our bodies in those things. So the things that we go through day in and day out, are we able to kind of relieve those pressure gauges in our lives to alleviate those stress points? It was said that about 200 years ago, what someone would have lived throughout their whole lifetime had about the same amount of stress and trauma level as just listening to the news for a daily cycle of news today in modern history. There's just so much stuff that is happening in our world, that's exploding in our world constantly, and when we're being inundated with all that information, in this kind of globalization of communication, being able to see what's happening all around the world at all times, it's exhausting and draining to our bodies. So being able to step back and step away from those things can be really, really helpful things for allowing you to get the rest that your body needs. We're not made to carry literally the weight of the world and all the events that are going on. And a lot of times it just ends up drawing us away from our families, from our friends, from our communities, where we can actually make a lasting impact if we're more present in those spaces. Being sick. People are, we're seeing rises in chronic illnesses and autoimmunes, all of these things. I myself am someone who is recovered from an autoimmune condition. And I tell you that when I was battling that, when I was struggling with that, it was exhausting to have that. It left me drained each and every day from that. So if you're battling something with your body, even if you have an injury of some kind, it's draining to your body. It takes resources for your body to heal and to recover. There's a reason why, if you're doing some kind of more extreme fitness or workout program, they give you recovery drinks, because you've just put your body through the ringer and it needs to repair itself. It needs that extra boost in order to recover itself just from that day's worth of activities. So anytime that we're undergoing any type of illness, sickness, injury, those things will leave us drained, and we need to give ourselves permission and time to rest and to recover from those things. Otherwise, we're just going to end up in a worse state from that. So with all these things, I just listed a whole bunch of things that is contributing to us feeling exhausted, not able to rest, not able to sleep at night. What are the things that can be helpful for us? What are some of the things that will aid us in that? I just want to share my story of sleep anxiety. So from a young child, I was someone who was often afraid. I would have scary dreams and nightmares, and I would just be fearful going to bed. And I would always want to fall asleep before my parents went to bed. And so if I was, fretting over something with sleep, I'd sit there going, "Oh no, it's getting later, it's getting later," and I would just freak myself out more and more and more about those things. Just trying to fall asleep. It's like, don't think about pink elephants and then you're constantly thinking about pink elephants. I'm sitting there, gotta fall asleep, I'm not falling asleep, I'm really not falling asleep. And I would just work myself up, and I just end up in tears from it because I couldn't make myself fall asleep. And that happened to me so much throughout my childhood, and into kind of more adult life, in college years and whatnot. That was something that I would worry if I was having trouble sleeping. Like, oh, I got classes, I got this big exam, I have this recital, I'm doing whatever it is that I'm working towards, and I would freak out that I'm just not getting enough sleep, I'm not going to be able to function for the day, and if I'm not functioning through the day, I'm going to fail these things. If I fail these things, my life is going to be over, and just all these things happening for me. And so that was something that really working through, and I still have things that I work through. I know triggers for myself that lead to that, and things that have been really, really helpful along the way. But I really kind of, that was just normal to me. I was like, isn't this like everyone, like that they just, have these freakouts over sleep? And it's like, no, that's not a normal thing. And so I started seeing a naturopath when I was in seminary, and she really helped to kind of target that and help with different things with that. So something that just for my personal journey that I found really helpful, she did ionic foot baths, and it just helped to relieve the stress and toxin load for my body. And it was something that I would have to go for an appointment and stick my feet in warm water for an hour and pull out all this nasty, gross, disgusting stuff. If you've ever done an ionic foot bath with a professional thing, it's so gross, but it just made me feel fantastic because I had to rest. There I'd bring a book or something, work on a paper, just like kind of quietly in that space, but there's only so much you can do. And it would just really help my body to relax, and it would take about an hour to drive back home afterwards. And I would get home, usually during the evening, have dinner, and I would just pass out afterwards. So that was something that was really helpful. She put me on a lot of supplements in boosting my B levels because my vitamin B levels were really low. And if you're stressed out, it really taxes your vitamin B levels, and that kind of helps your body to process it. Vitamin B and magnesium are both really, really key nutrients for our bodies that we need in order to process stress and to let go of stress, because it's a very physical thing. You feel it, if you're like your shoulders are getting up over your ears, the tension. It's not just something like in our minds. We literally carry the weight of stress in our bodies, and so it's just really, really important for us to be able to have those things on hand to help with that. Gut health was another really big area for me. I started on some good probiotics, and I would take those at night, and it would really help just to kind of calm down my mind and get me to a space of rest. And then probably, it was kind of the culmination of these things, but then the biggest shift for us was when we started our Young Living journey, and we started diffusing oils at night. That was just a huge game changer for me, because I would have a space where those things would kind of help me get to sleep, but then I would wake up a lot in the middle of the night, and having the oils diffusing throughout the night really helped me to just be able to fall asleep much more easily and just stay asleep. And so those have been really big things for me. I also have another thing I love to do at night, just as part of my routine, is I have I don't even know what they're called. My mom bought it for me, but they're like one of those acupressure pads. It's like a bed of nails, and it's a mat and a pillow that you put under your neck, and it kind of works as like a acupressure system, and it just really kind of helps me calm down. So I'll try and read something before bed and lay on that and just breathe in the oils, and after doing that for just a few minutes, or if I'm not reading, if I just close my eyes, I have to be careful because I'll just pass out and I'll wake up like an hour later. because my wife wakes me up and is like, "Hey, you should probably get off your mat," so I don't sleep on all night because I just completely pass out. So those are just a little bit of my journey of getting through sleep anxiety, becoming aware of it, and some helpful things along the way, and kind of how I got turned on to this area and why I'm so passionate about it. So I just want to touch on some of my favorite sleep products, sleep-oriented products that Young Living has. ImmuPro. This is one that it's very high in melatonin, and it also has mineral and polysaccharide complexes that can help restore our natural sleep rhythms for our body. And it's kind of like one of those quick fixes. It's not something that's really good to be on all the time. We should be getting natural excretion of melatonin and not supplementing it. But if you need kind of that quick fix of just getting your system restarted and reset, ImmuPro is just a fantastic place to go. I know that's out of stock right now, so a really good alternative to it is the next one I'm going to say, and that's Sleep Essence. And this is basically a cocktail of some of the best sleep oils. So it's got lavender, vetiver, valerian, tangerine, and rue in it. And so it's just kind of some of those most favorite beloved sleep oils that Young Living has in a capsule. You take it before bed, and it just helps your body to get into that space of peaceful rest. Another one was touched on the call last night on rest. Was Mineral Essence, and this one is fantastic, and I totally resonate with this. And that's because it's a great source of magnesium. That's one of our favorite magnesium supplements that Young Living has to offer. So if you haven't tried Mineral Essence, I highly recommend it. It's a phenomenal product. Start very small with it. Some people have really high sensitivities. We have people here in this group that they can only do just like a couple of drops. It also has a really strong flavor that some people can't stomach, so it can be good to mix with something like Ningxia or golden turmeric or something like that. I'm a weirdo. I love the taste of it, and I can take a huge amount of it, so I'm just like sitting there and I'm like dropper, and I have a lot and I down it, and I think it tastes really, really good, and then I sleep like a baby. If you have little ones, something that we like to do is we'll just take some drops and we'll just drop it along their spine and rub it in, or you can do it on the bottom of their feet. And that's a really non-invasive way for kids to have it, that they can get a support for that. But we also have a great magnesium supplement for kids, and that's Unwind. It tastes like watermelons. It's really good, and I sleep really well from that. My dad started taking it too, and he really enjoyed that one. So that's another great one for the kids and for us big kids too. I love taking that one. My personal favorite sleep oils, and I'm going to say for sleep oils, just experiment and try it out, and be comfortable with maybe not getting the best sleep if you accidentally use an oil that'll just kind of like wake you up. So my personal favorites are like Hope, Sleepy Eyes, Believe. I really like the evergreen oils. They really help me to sleep personally. Sleepy, all of these can be really, really good ones, but you just kind of experiment around and see what works best for you. Gut support, again, that was big for me. So things like Essential Zymes, Life 9 are probiotic. Oils like Digize and lemon to help your digestive system to not have to do quite as much work, can really help our bodies to be able to rest at night. A raindrop massage, that even if you just do the foot portion of it with the raindrop collection, it can do very similar things in just helping our body to detox, similar to the ionic foot bath that I mentioned. And that's another one that I find that if I have that, it's usually best if I do it in the evening, because I feel like I want to pass out afterwards, and I really sleep well after a raindrop massage. We have great bath bombs too for just calming your body down. We have lavender bath bombs. I'm hoping they're going to come back with this as a standard. The Sleepy Eyes bath bombs for the kids that they did is the holiday one. Oh man, that is just such a phenomenal thing to have for our kids. A little sleep bath bomb that they can have fun in the bath, kind of get their bodies calmed down, and be able to rest for the night. So that's super great. I'm going to switch over to energy now. And this is one that we like to ignore. We like to just put a Band-Aid over it. We drink coffee, we take energy shots, any kind of stimulant that we can find to hide the fact that we are just utterly exhausted and depleted. And it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid over a gunshot wound. It's not gonna change the fact that you're bleeding out. And so that's kind of the problem is that we're doing with our energy levels. And usually what ends up being the victim in our bodies is our immune system gets completely shot, as well as our endocrine systems, particularly our adrenals, just get destroyed when we just keep putting Band-Aids over the fact that we're exhausted. If our body is tired, it's saying it needs to rest. It doesn't mean, oh, you need coffee right now. It means, oh, you probably need to rest and slow down. And the problem with adrenal fatigue is that we can kind of run off of those stimulants for a while until we can't. And then you're going to be in a really long season of building back up again. And I think it's really strange, again, going back to the teenagers, I think it's really weird that one thing that almost seems like a rite of passage when I was a teen was like mono was like just a normal thing. Like, oh yeah, teens get mono because like, you work so hard to the point where you get your immune system so shot that you get sick and you're down for a few weeks. That's not normal. We shouldn't be having those things happen, but I think it's really just a sign that we're overtaxing ourselves in our schedules. So just a couple of quick notes here. If you're experiencing cravings, particularly for things like coffee or sugary type things like that, it could be a sign that you're experiencing a magnesium deficiency, which we touched on before. And so just be careful what the things are that you're running to, because those can be telling you something about your body that it actually needs. And then if you've been addressing low energy for a while and things just don't seem to be working, areas to look towards are hormones, so your endocrine system, particularly looking at your thyroid, and getting good testing, getting with a good naturopath or some kind of practitioner to be able to help you along that journey to find out what it is. Other areas that can be contributing factors are things like parasites and yeast overgrowth. That can leave your body depleted and exhausted because they're getting all the nutrients that you actually need for your body. So why are we exhausted? Well, like I said, we've kind of gone through all the things that have been exhausting to us. So it's a lot of us just not really taking care of ourselves the way that we are designed to be running and functioning. But sometimes we do need that quick fix, that quick win to be able to help our bodies to function, in the short term so that we can get to that space of rest. So for me, that looked like when we were getting ready to move up here to Washington, we had like a 21-hour drive up here. It's a shorter drive, but when you have kids and a dog and 2 cats with you, it takes a lot longer. And so it was more like 21 hours for the entire journey for us. And I was sick at the time. And so we had some Ningxia sachets, we had some Ningxia Nitro, we had peppermint oil on hand. And I have made peppermint popcorn. That's one of my favorite snacks that kind of gives me an energy boost for things. And I got through it. I drove all but 1 hour of that journey. I had, I think, 3 Ningxia Nitros and like 4 Ningxia sachets on that drive and so much peppermints, but we made it and got through it. So when you need those quick wins, those are the things. So, I think a big thing is just run to better things for those quick fixes. We have great quick fixes with Young Living, so choose the better options and start making choices that lead to those small wins for your energy. And a lot of that looks like being able to reduce that stress in our lives. So things like getting good B supplementation, good magnesium supplementation, taking time to rest for your body. For me, prayer is really important, and just relaxing and spending time with my family. Getting more sleep, choosing to go to bed earlier, and to cut back on what we're doing. My phone battery is about to die here, so I'm going to try and wrap this up in case if this just cuts out. So, favorite things for energy. Favorite oils, Awaken blend. It's a blend of 5 different blends from Young Living. It's a great one to boost your energy. Motivation. That was a promo a couple months ago. If you haven't tried it, that's a great thing to try it for. Peppermint oil, spearmint, nutmeg and clove, Endoflex, energy, black pepper. All these are just great ones to get your energy level boosted up. If you're experiencing mental fatigue, Things like MindWise and OmegaGize, getting your omega levels balanced is really important. And then oils like Brain Power, Genius, Sage, Rosemary, those can be really helpful for kind of that brain fog that you're facing. And then things that we have just for natural energy, Ningxia all the way. Ningxia is the best thing. Drink more Ningxia. Drink Ningxia all the time. If you've never tried Ningxia, I'd say that's like the number one place to go after this call. Ningxia Nitro for those quick fixes. It's got a much more natural form of caffeine that our bodies can actually process and digest. And so it's a really good place for that. It's also loaded with bees to give you that extra hit for things. Ningxia Zing is another fun way to drink Ningxia that kind of has that little pick-me-up energy to it. Super B's, that's our B vitamin. Super D, if you're low on D's, that can also really affect your energy levels. And then a couple other supplements, Master Formula and multigreens, getting those good nutrients into our body. Super good that we have those things that we just need, those building blocks for our body to be able to run and function throughout the day. And then things for stress, because if we're stressed out, we deplete so much energy just about worrying about things. As Jesus said in Scripture, who can add a single hour to his life by worrying? And boy, is that true. So my favorites for that, because that is something that I certainly struggle with. CBD Calm, that's one of my favorites. Valor, Sacred Frankincense and Frankincense, Peace and Calming, Stress Away. Any of the citrus oils, and for me, any of the evergreen oils, I really love those. Those are just great places to kind of calm down, take a breath in, just sit there breathing in oil, and just telling yourself that if you're in a stressed out space, I'm okay, it's going to be okay. Or if you're struggling with something, you're going to get through this. So taking that time for those things. So I'd say if find one thing that we talked about today that resonates with you. Pick that one thing, start to implement it, whether it's a habit, going to bed a little bit earlier tonight, something like that. Or if you have an oil you want to try, a supplement you want to try, whatever it is, and just pick that one thing, start implementing it this month, and see how your energy levels change from here on. I'd also encourage you, if you haven't downloaded the Life Steps app, it is a free app you can download. It's got amazing resources for Young Living, and they have a free wellness assessment that you can take in that app. So I encourage you, go and search for that in the App Store, in the Google Play Store, the Life Steps app. It's a free app, and it's just an amazing tool for you that you can get on this journey. There's also an energy box that they have of kind of all the favorites, so you can read a little bit more about some of the things that we hit on tonight and why those are specifically helpful. So I hope this is helpful for you, and thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk more next week.